Welcome back to Writing Done Right. And today we're going to do another brief overview of another free and open source software package. This is another one that you can use for your book covers, and it's particularly more geared towards if you're more of an artist drawing and writing, and if you use things like Wacom tablets to do your digital drawing. So today we're going to have a look at Krita. All right, so this is an excellent application here. The greatest thing about using Krita is if you're using one of these Wacom tablets, these guys are a tablet with a pen. So you basically have a pen here with a few buttons on it, and you can go ahead and draw just like you're drawing on paper. You can go ahead and write with a tablet. Well, these Wacom tablets work really well with the application called Krita, which is oftentimes used in animation things. Now, Krita has some advantages over GIMP. It has a few disadvantages over GIMP. The biggest disadvantages are text layers do not work very well under Krita. They are definitely coming along. They're working out better. It is definitely improving, but it's still not nearly where GIMP is. But there's a number of things that it does really well. The first is if you're doing more of drawing and less of image manipulation, Krita is going to be your go-to application. So I'm going to use it on my science fiction book cover to draw in some more elements in my book cover that I can't easily just manipulate in. The next major thing that we have is Krita has the same layer properties tab that Photoshop does. So if you're used to doing layer properties, which are going to give you a drop shadow, a bevel emboss, stroke, things like this, all of those function the same exact way that they do on Photoshop, which GIMP does not have those. And so that's actually a good selling point for using Krita. It also does support the true CMYK image format, which is technically what you want for printing, which GIMP does not necessarily support, although I've not had a problem with using GIMP for those. But overall, though, Krita itself is an excellent application, and we're going to jump on over to the computer and have a look at all the various things that you can do and how to get started using Krita as a software package. So here we are on the Krita loading screen, and when we load this guy up, you'll see that we have just basic information, users manuals, things like this. We can drag an image onto this. It'll show us our recent documents. Recent documents, people. We have a new file. We can open a file. Now, if you are used to these types of applications, like a GIMP, like a Photoshop, something more advanced than, MS Paint or something, there's not going to be any real surprises here. Your real difference here in Krita is it's designed specifically for illustration, not like Illustrator, which is more of a vector application, but this is illustrations, raster illustrations, and it has a lot more support for using your tablets and things. And so kind of designed for that in mind. Let's go ahead and create a new document. Under File, open a new document. While it's open, I want a new document. Let's just go ahead and click the button here on the Start page. And remember, anytime you're working with a print document, you want to go with a 300 DPI. We would generally use this for like a book cover. And so here with 300 DPI resolution, and if you have it as an option, use CMYK. I've not found any issues with the fact that GIMP generally only supports RGB, and I've professionally published several books, so I've not had an issue with that. But your difference is technically there could be a slight difference in how they look, because RGB is a color style based on emitting light. So your website's going to be RGB. Any other thing that is going to be on a screen is RGB. CMYK is based on a reflection of light, not an emission, and so the color profiles are slightly different. Where you have the option, go CMYK. And so we create our document. Of course, this is already set to 5.5 inches wide by 8.5 inches high, 300 DPI. So this is what I would use for a basic standard book cover. You can just scroll your mouse wheel for your zooms, and you can grab your mouse wheel to move in and out. We're not going to cover everything in the specific menus because it's pretty typical here. Your basic views, showing your guide, showing your grids. These are related to the image items, shearing the image, rotating the image, resizing the canvas, resizing the image. There's a trim to new size. There should be a scale image to new size. So the trim, of course, is going to cut off other things to a new size versus the scale will scale the whole thing to a new size. And you can also resize the canvas as well. We have other tools specifically designed for layers. Now the layers here work a little bit more like Photoshop in that by default, they're not scaled to a specific user set size like they are in GIMP. So you're not going to find quite as good centering with each other tools as you'll find inside of GIMP, but still it does do a very good job. You're going to be able to work with the snaps and the guides and the grids. Anything relating to selections, of course, here's your filters. A variety of different filters can be applied to different things. So if you are looking for some type of effect, you can go forward and look for it there. There's some basic settings which will just how you can set your system up, including themes. You can go with themes, other things like that. Okay, now let's go over first, let's cover the text, which is a little bit clunkier than you'll find in either Photoshop or in GIMP. So when we click on a text, we actually have to drag and just, create our layer however big it's going to be. And then we have a bunch of text here. So let's just go with test text as the title of it. And then we want to come down here and we can just go ahead and select all of our sizes, our colors, and things like that. Every time you hit save, it's going to readjust it. So you can move this off to the side and tweak it all you want. So this is way better than it used to be. It's still not ideal for me personally, but it is definitely moving along. You can preset your font there. You can do your sizes. You can scale it, whether it's going to be centered or not with the width of our scale here. So go ahead and save that guy. We can close that box. Now, where we have a lot better options inside of this is Krita actually has our layer styles like Photoshop does. So I can come down here and I can do things like drop shadows and things like this. So come over here and you can just select what you want to do. So let's go ahead and look at an addition of a drop shadow, and you can set your colors. You can set how everything is going to be shining on here. So let's just go ahead and play around with some of these guys here. Here's darken, nothing there. There's a normal. Of course, you can adjust the height, the width, the distance, all these types of things here. You can also do fun things with it, like there's, I think it's called the erase, which is actually going to erase things that are below it. Can't really see it on this particular text here, but let me see if I zoom in, we might be able to. Let's just go ahead and push OK and zoom in on this guy. So you can kind of see what it's doing is the shadow is actually erasing the layer right underneath it, which is kind of a cool effect. If that's something that you're looking to do. All right, you can also get to those, of course, over here, layer styles. So this is one of the things that I think a lot of people are missing out of GIMP, where we can do a lot of these features and functions inside of it without destroying the layers and things like that. But that being said, where Krita is really going to stand out is when you start working with your brushes and your tablets. So here's really what our difference is. I'm still using the mouse here. I've selected my brush tool. And then now we have brush presets, which will give us a lot of different ways of doing some type of drawing effect. So you can see that, let's go back to a paint layer there. We were on in fact, let's just go ahead and create a new layer just for paint. We can't paint over a text layer. All right, so now we're on a paint layer. So you can kind of see what the brush looks like if we are just using the mouse. Now, if we have a Wacom tablet like I have right here, so now we'll actually come over here with the pen. And if you're an artist and you're using your pen, now you can do a lot of things like variety of the colors and the size. And so I can control how heavy or light I'm brushing just with the press of the pen. So I have a lot more options. Also, it just makes it a little bit easier to select some tools. Here's the size of our brush over here. So this is really why Krita is the standout application for doing your illustration type things, more like hand drawing type stuff on the computer, is because the ability to do the tools is here. Now, there are some pen tool buttons here on the pen, so you can grab those and just slide things around. There also is this guy here, which is a little bit more difficult to use. You have to kind of get used to it till you learn how to use it. But with it, you can actually start and really quickly navigate back and forth between the different colors and the styles of brushes that you're using. So now I have this type of brush. Let's see if I have as much luck getting the window there. I don't. Like I said, that's actually very hard to use. It takes a lot of getting used to. There it is. It's kind of like if you kind of start by tapping the canvas, pushing the button while you lift off is going to kind of get you there. Of course, here's with your erasing tool. When you start out, it'll start out erasing and not erasing as much. I grabbed the wrong tool though. There we are. You can see there's a little bit all the way to a lot. So this is really where Krita stands out. So if you are working on your book cover and you need to do something, maybe you need to manually draw in shadows, or in the case what I've actually used this for recently is, we go to my recent documents. I'm doing all this with the pen, by the way. If I actually go into my recent documents, I had this picture here for a book, and I wanted to take this person out of the background and use it somewhere else. So what I end up doing is over here, that's actually, I did want to open the other one up. I think it's that one's the one I want. Yeah, this is the one I want here. Okay, so what I was actually doing with this is with my pen is I was adding braces and things like this. So we isolated the kid and then we painted stuff on. And I was able to actually do this way better using Krita than I could have done with GIMP, because I had a lot more control over the layers and how to and where to draw, and with drawing with your hands, which doesn't look super amazing from really up close, but really it's pretty small in this. So this is actually for a new science fiction book cover I'm working on right now. Once you put it in context where he's about half the size, it looks really good. So that's actually where I'm using Krita for. Pulling him out of the background happens a lot better. Isolating out, being able to draw over things by using my hand drawing instead of using your mouse wheel to do everything. So makes it a little bit easier to do stuff in. So that's actually a brief overview of Krita. Basic tools, much the same. Really good for your tablets. Really good, particularly if you are going to be doing anything with editing. Let me see if I can grab this layer here. This guy around. Let's see what happens if I put this guy over this layer here. You'll kind of see what it's doing. It's deleting stuff out below it. Makes a really cool effect if you're actually putting that text over something. So anyway, there's an overview of Krita. A very nice application to use. Of course, it is free and cross-platform. You can download it if you are on Windows, Mac, or Linux. Just head on over to their website, which is, I'll link it in the description down there. So with that, I hope that this will help you work on some of your book covers, and that this video will help you to get your writing done.